And we see to it.
Who's that cheer for?
Anybody?
You? Me.
Yes, I'm ready right now.
Test 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yes.
Okay, could you acknowledge yourself for showing up today just to bring the energy and just give it to yourself? That's your first chance. All right, that was a practice session. Let's see if we can really acknowledge us. Can we give it up for us?
Oh my.
Sometimes people want to know what does metaphysics mean. And it means beyond the physical. It's based on the idea that our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs, conscious and subconscious, create our reality. That we're not a victim of our experience, that our experience is reflecting back to us that which is what we predominantly think and feel. The problem is we are not aware of 90% of our thoughts.
Wow.
We're just aware of the ones that we happen to be focusing on in any given moment. And so during that moment, you really think that's the way you think, for real. Like I can say I love everyone because that's the thought that's uppermost in my mind right now. But that doesn't mean I don't have other kind of thoughts about how I feel about people.
Yeah.
And so all those other thoughts about how I feel about people are represented in the people that I meet. So the way that the people that I meet treat me is actually representing all of my thoughts about people rather than just the thoughts I think about people.
Wow.
So that's why it looks like you can think you're one way and look like you're attracting a lot of people who seem to be very different. It's because they're reflecting back to you your own subconscious thoughts that you're unaware of, because our mind is a lot like an iceberg, and so most of it is underneath the ocean and not above the ocean. And personally, if I'm going to choose a thought I'm going to think about myself, I'm going to pretty much try to consciously think a thought about myself like I'm really cool and I got myself together. Right?
Yeah.
And any thought to the contrary, then it's your fault.
There you go. Yeah.
It's like the Course in Miracles says, this is one that says if you want to get the world to agree with where you're coming from, all you got to do is say it's somebody else's fault. And generally speaking, people are joining in with you. Yeah, you're right, your boss is the worst person that ever walked the earth. You're right, your mama got serious issues. Or whatever the thing is. And so we need to recognize that if we're going to ever be happy and ever know our power and ever really have the things that we truly say we want, we've got to be willing to listen to thoughts and ideas that are different from the ones that we have been taught.
Yeah, wow.
The most radical thing about the word new is that the word new means different. People say I want something new, but just don't give me nothing different. I'm coming to this class so I can hear something new, but don't you dare say something opposite to what I already believe. Anybody familiar with that? You might find yourself doing it right now. You may find yourself wanting to judge what I'm saying based on what you've already learned. And then what I say that doesn't agree with what you've already learned, you drop that off to the side, and the things that do agree to with what you already have learned, then you accept those as true. Right? So when you walk out, you haven't changed your mind at all. It's kind of early.
Yeah. give me 10 minutes, brother, Bro?
So that means that probably something that I would say that might be new, that may change the way you are experiencing your experience, was probably going to be some thought that you go, that's hard to believe, that's quite startling, and I'm meeting some resistance. So you really want to be on the lookout for the thoughts that I say that most upset you, because probably the thought that I say that most upsets you is the thought that applies to you the most. I'll say it again. What I say that you probably have the most resistance to will probably be the thing that actually is exactly what you need to hear. Because it would be something different. Come up here. You can have my back. Will you do that for me?
Yeah.
I thought you would. Okay. So how do you open your mind up to learning something new and different easily? This is the way you would do it. You would tell yourself, as you listen to me today, that you don't need to believe it.
Don't need to believe it.
You don't
Don't need to
have to
believe
repeat it, but you can say it if you want to. You don't need to believe it. You don't need to accept it. You don't need to welcome it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. If you want to make this an easy class, go, I don't have to believe anything dude is saying. I don't have to welcome anything dude is saying. I don't have to accept anything that he's saying. And also, some of the things I say are going to be hard to believe. I'm going to say some way out stuff maybe that's hard for you to believe. That's great. So some of the stuff is going to be hard to believe. Some of it's going to be quite startling. And nobody's asking us to judge the ideas, analyze the ideas. The ideas work. If you use them, you will see that the ideas work. And this is why you can prove it today. Because the Course in Miracles is based on the idea that you give everything you see all the meaning that it has for you. Is there anybody that does not see that? That you're the one that's giving everything you see all the meaning that it has for you.
Yeah.
Does anybody don't see that? Checking in. I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah.
That you're giving all the meaning
Yeah.
to this moment. You're giving all the meaning to what I'm saying. You're giving all the meaning that I have for you. You're giving it to me. Right?
Right.
Okay, and if that's true, then you are emotionally responding to the meanings that you're giving things. So we take it a step further. Okay, that if I'm giving you meaning, then all the feeling that I'm having towards you is coming from the meaning that I'm giving you and what you just did. Everybody with me on that one? All right, so if that's true, then if you wanted to truly have peace, then you would simply have to do what? Give new meaning. If it's the meaning that's upsetting you, then what you really need is a new meaning. What you really need is a new interpretation of what's going on. I think you stepped on my foot on purpose. I got mad. You told me it was an accident because you tripped over an electrical cord, and then I instantly feel okay. Oh, okay. Oh, it was an accident. That proves you can change your emotions instantly. Because you do it all the time. You think something is happening, somebody tell you something else is going on. You know, oh, I thought I saw you kissing her. Oh, you really wasn't? No, you just get something out of her eye through her lips? Yeah. I'm just doing it through my lips. You don't think I got these big old lips for nothing, do ya? These lips have meaning. Depending on who you're talking to. Some people, my lips have no meaning to. Most people, right? So really, does your peace come from, in that case, does your peace come from changing the physical situation that you think you're upset about? Or does your peace come from changing your interpretation or the meaning that you are giving to that situation or person? Dun, 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 dun. Which is it harder to do, to change a meaning or change a whole physical circumstance? A meaning. A meaning. It's easier to change a meaning than it is to change your sister. I guarantee you it'll be easier for you to change your meaning of me than to try to change me. Guarantee that's the easiest way to go. So when we talk about truth, when we're talking about a real solution, do you know that a real solution is always something that you can do right now and you can depend on it, and it's a solution that you can use based on where you are right now? That a real solution from spirit does not require you to change first, then you can get the answer, so much as it requires you to recognize that you can be met where you are, that the answer and the love and everything can meet you where you are, and then you raise up with it.
Ooh, that's so
I would much rather have something accept me as I am now, and then I continue to evolve, than for me to have to feel like I got to make some radical change in myself before I can have. Like I can't, you know, I've got to make myself worthy of God's love. I got to make myself worthy of the Creator's love. I got to make myself worthy of your love. Suppose there were people that just already love me the way I am. And since you're the one that's giving everything the meaning, whether you love me or not is based on your choice in a way, not really how I'm acting. It's just whether you decided to love me or not. Wow. Or rather to allow it. Because we don't source love anyway. We don't create it. It comes through us. And our job is to get out of the way so that it can come through us and do its thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't make love. You can just only make fear. If you be honest with yourself, that's what you made when you made love. You you think about what comes later, you can go, hey, baby, that was some good fear making we did last night. How do I know it's some good fear making? Because I'm behind the bush washing dirt now, trying to see who's coming over there. See if anybody else gonna get in there. You know what I'm saying? So that is your way of knowing that you just made some fear. You didn't make love, you allowed love. That's deep. Now remember, you don't have to believe, accept, this, welcome it. Anything that I'm saying, so I can talk to you, right?
Right.
Okay, so we on the development of trust, something that I know that all of you are full of. That you are just full of trust. You just walk in the room, just trusting me, trusting this, you're just full of trust. Okay? I want to send a shout out to Kate and William.
Yeah.
That was the most special wedding I've ever seen in my life. It took specialness to a whole brand new level. You know. Yeah. So the first stage of the development of trust is that I'm gonna kind of catch us up to where we have been the last 6 months. Okay, if you say you're going to develop trust, and this book is talking about developing trust, in spirit, God, yourself, your higher self. But what's cool about the truth is you can apply it to anything. So you could also say this is about developing trust with me, developing trust from your job. The truth can be applied to anything. Okay, so unless you make it relevant, then what I say will sound abstract. If you don't take it and apply it specifically to something in your life, the truth always seems abstract. So you can tell me you love everybody, and then I can say, do you love your father that you thought you were abused by? No, when you just got to saying you love everybody. So when you make it specific, then you know where you are. I love my father. Do I really? So when you make the truth specific, then it makes a lot more sense. So if you're going to develop trust, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to go through a period of undoing. When you go through the period of undoing, you'll usually experience it as painful, but it doesn't really have to be painful. The reason why the period of undoing seems painful is because it looks like something is being taken away. Because you don't realize you are now seeing things in a different light, and so you don't value things the way you used to value them, and so it will look like it's leaving your life.
Yeah.
If you don't value people who attack you, then all of a sudden the people who attack you will seem to be leaving your life. If you no longer want to be in relationships that you're not appreciated, then relationships you're not appreciated in will begin, whatever the thought is that you're no longer valuing, it will begin to leave your life. So if a person's got a life that's full of turmoil and conflict, and they're doing things that don't make them happy, and they're on jobs that they hate, and they're with people that they really have to just go to the bar before they go home just to be able to open the door. That's why they be, well, you think I'm going to be at the bar after work? They got to go home. All right, now. That's true for some of them. Yeah. They're getting fortified, because they're getting ready to go home and meet their own subconscious thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They're getting ready to go meet themselves.
That can be scary.
And they can be scary depending on how you are.
Right.
And so sometimes the Course says that we're not at a point that we can internally shift the way that we should. Like we say we want to change on the inside, and we don't change on the inside. And so when it's that way, it says the divine plan will sometimes call for changes in what seem to be your external circumstances. So if you won't change on the outside, you create situations if you won't change on the inside, you create situations on the outside that get you to go ahead and change on the inside.
That's cool.
I know that those who procrastinate know what I'm talking about. Because that's what I have to watch. I'll wait till the last possible second. Then I come out to the corner fighting. You know what I'm saying? So what happened? The physical circumstance made me have the internal shift that said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this done. So my approach to spirit now is I'm assuming that the infinite intelligence of the universe that created me might know more than me. And so I'll assume that it could give me the truth about what's really going on, and if I would just go ahead and listen to it and do it, I won't have to get all the challenging external circumstances that force me to come to the same conclusion.
Wow. That's a mouthful.
Because everything in your life is trying to get you to the point that you stop thinking that you are alone and that you can do it alone. So you'll increasingly create things that get beyond your capacity to deal with by yourself. which gives you the internal shift that makes you reach out to somebody else or something greater than yourself for help. So I'm voluntarily trying to do what I'm told as opposed to having to have a situation force me to do that. And so when you are having these external situations that are really helping you become the person you want to be, because that's what all these external situations are doing, they're helping you become the person you want to be, to have the kind of life you really want to have, then you're to say that these changes are always helpful. If you call these changes helpful, even if you don't feel like they're helpful, even if it doesn't look like they're helpful, but you call them helpful, then when you begin to have learned that much, that the universe is a loving universe, so basically no matter how messed up it looks, there's some divine order going on here that's beyond what I can understand, and so everything that's happening in the world is somehow for my own best interest, even though I might not know how. So if I could get up in the morning and say that no matter what's happening, at some level there's some lesson being learned, there's some growth happening, there's some benefit coming to me, then of course the miracle says when you learn that much, you go on to the second stage. So you don't go to the second stage of developing trust until you say that the thing that's in your life right now that you maybe are feeling the most upset about right now, the most frightening right now, would you say these changes are always helpful? Mm-hmm. These changes are always helpful. Now, how many of you all can say that without belief and sincerity? Okay, let's try it again. These changes are always helpful. See, what slows us down is when you think you have to believe what you're saying. And that's why to learn something easily, you have to tell yourself you don't have to believe it. Then at least you'll hear it, because the first step to change is hearing the new idea. So you got to let yourself hear it, even if you don't believe it yet, even if you don't have enthusiasm for it yet. At least let yourself hear it. You mean me breaking my leg, it was helpful? These changes are always helpful. You know, you might not wear 10-inch heels the next time. Who knows? You know. Okay, now. You went through it anyway. Why not see it as something that served you?
Yeah.
If you broke, then say this change is helpful. Then you won't at least be feeling broken, just feel like it's not serving no useful purpose. You're learning something about it, you know. And it's basically a lesson in learning that you're sustained by the love of your Creator and not by you taking care of yourself. It's basically there to get you to get in touch with what your real source is, rather than thinking that it's something that you're doing in the world. It's just trying to get you to take the easy path, which is to accept the assistance and the love of the universe, rather than believing that you're autonomous and you have to do it all by yourself. Because if you believe that you must do it all by yourself, then you produce a reality where no one helps you. Because you believe you must do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So everybody cooperates. Nobody does anything to help you. You get mad, but you don't realize, well, you said you wanted to do it all by yourself. You on your own. You don't want nobody else getting involved. Well, nobody's getting involved.
Mercy.
So, you know, so one of the most limiting beliefs that we learn is the belief that we are alone and that we should be self-sufficient and autonomous. That we shouldn't reach out and we shouldn't join, we shouldn't connect, we shouldn't support, we shouldn't help, we shouldn't connect with source, we shouldn't ask source. We should do it all on our own, and the universe cooperates and says, all right, do it all on your own, figure it out all on your own. And then you're struggling, don't know what's going on, and lost and don't know it's just a reflection of the universal law. As you think within, that's the way it is without. Deep. Okay, so when do you go to the next stage? When you say what? These changes are always helpful. Okay, so now you're going through a change. The change is helpful. Then the next stage, and I'm paraphrasing as I go to where we left off, it says the next stage you're going to go through is a period of sorting out. Now, sorting things out, it says that's going to be somewhat difficult because you've learned that the changes in your life are always helpful. Now you've got to decide everything on the basis of whether whatever you're going through is helping you or whatever you're going through is hampering your progress. So then it becomes, when I sort things out, in other words, is this situation, circumstance, or person moving me toward my goal? Or is this situation, circumstance, or person hampering me by moving me away from my goal? My goal is peace. Is this relationship moving me toward peace, my goal, or is this relationship moving me away from peace? If it's moving me toward my goal, it's helpful. If it's moving me away from my goal, then you would say it's not valuable. It's not helpful. So the Course says that we'll realize that most of the things that we value really hinders our ability to practice the truth. Because let's say that I believe that I'm a victim of everybody, and the truth says I'm a creator and I am responsible for what I see. Well, it looks like the truth is hindering the belief that I already have that someone else is to blame. If I want to believe someone else is to blame and the truth is saying no one is to blame, then it looks like the truth is not benefiting me. It looks like the truth is moving me away from the thing that would make me safe. In other words, whatever you decide makes you safe, and the truth says something opposite to that, then that's what makes it difficult to transfer the truth. Because there's some areas I don't want to apply it to. Let's say, like financially, I still want to say it's the economy and the government and inflation and the deficit that is keeping me from having the kind of job I want. Okay, that's your belief. So if the truth says that is a holy bunch of crock, then that's going to be like totally separate to how you set things up as being a victim, and then you're going to get upset because the truth says you are an unlimited being, created by an unlimited being, who creates through your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs. You are beyond your physical body. You are a spiritual entity, and everything that you experience is coming from your own consciousness, and so therefore you can change it at any time. So therefore you are not ruled by inflation. You're not ruled by being a woman. You're not ruled by being a man. You're not being ruled by being black. You're not being ruled by anything outside of you that the world is saying is stopping you. You're not educated enough. You're not smart enough. You didn't have a good enough family. All the things that we use to make us believe that we're not having what we want, the truth says this is not true. So that makes it difficult to apply the truth to every situation, because I don't believe I'm the one that's creating my perception of every situation. I don't believe I'm the one that's creating my experience of every situation. And the truth says I am. So now it's difficult for me to apply the truth to the areas I have the greatest grievances. If I think it's your fault and the truth says not, then I don't want to apply the truth to that, because I got a grievance against you about what I think you did to me, and I don't want to let go of the grievance. So I'm not going to practice the truth there. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's no accident that that's the person that you still have the problem with.
Right.
Because that's the person you're not applying the truth to. Could it be that simple? Yes. Why is it that we need it to be complicated? Because it gives us an excuse for not doing it. So we need all problems to be complicated when you're not ready to actually have it solved. It's got to be difficult. Because if someone tells me to do something that's simple and I can do it, then I have no excuse for not doing it except to admit I don't want to do it. But if I can make it really, really complex and it takes 900 lifetimes, then I have no problem with that, because I'm still not doing anything really. But I can think I'm doing great things, but actually I'm not doing anything. So it takes great learning to understand that all things, events, encounters, and circumstances are helpful. 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 It takes great learning to understand. It says it takes great learning to understand. So the Course is not expecting a person to walk in off the street and immediately believe that all events and circumstances that they're going through are helpful. It says it takes great learning. It's only to the extent to which all things, events, encounters, and circumstances are helpful. He says that any degree of reality should be accorded them in this world of illusion. The word value can apply to nothing else. So the only thing that's valuable is what's helping me move toward love. The only thing that's valuable is what's helping me move toward truth. The only thing that's truly valuable is what's helping me move toward God, love, higher power. The only thing that's helpful is what's moving me toward my goal.
Yeah.
That's what's helpful. Didn't say guilty, didn't say sinful, didn't say bad. It just said, you know what, dear, I think I'm going to change the form of this relationship because you know what, it's just not helpful. what I'm experiencing with you is just not helpful in my perception. So it's not very valuable. I'm in a relationship to experience growth and openness and love and peace and appreciation, communication. We haven't talked in 10 weeks. It's got to be your way or no way. We still got grievances going for what happened 3 years ago. We haven't touched each other in 9 years. I don't think this is helpful in terms of my goal to have true intimacy and peace. So this is not really a valuable relationship. Not that you're bad, not that I'm bad. It's just not valuable. Now, what's good about saying it's not valuable? Well, you've already learned not to value what doesn't have any value. So if you say it's not valuable to be mistreated, your mind will automatically start to correct and move away from mistreatment because you've already trained your mind all your life that you shouldn't be mistreated. So when you just reinterpret it, you can allow your mind to work for you the way it's already been programmed for years, and you won't have to always be trying to change. Why don't you work with the way your mind already operates? That would be the smart. In other words, I've already learned that I should not allow myself to be mistreated. I just need to change my definition of what mistreatment is. And then my mind will automatically correct the situation. So I'm mistreating myself when I'm racked with guilt. I'm mistreating myself when I'm judging myself. I'm mistreating myself when I'm saying I don't deserve to be happy. So if I tell my mind, what's happening with you today, Earl? Well, I've been mistreating myself through the way I've been thinking. The mind goes, mistreatment, mistreatment, we don't want mistreatment. We've learned that mistreatment is not acceptable. And then your mind will start to remember the things and tell you the things that will allow you to stop the mistreatment and recognize your value automatically. So would you like automatic correction, or do you want to still keep on trying to correct yourself by yourself? Automatic. It's time for some automatic correction. That's what I want. I want some automatic correction. I'm tired of that stuff. All right. To breathe for a second. I'm going to read paragraph 5 and then we're going to go through it. The third stage through which the teacher of God must go, the third stage is called a period of relinquishment. You have to go through what's called a period of relinquishment. Now, if this period of relinquishment is interpreted as giving up the desirable, it will engender enormous conflict. If you think that this period of relinquishment means that you are being asked to give up the desirable, if you think you're being asked to give up the desirable, if you think I'm telling you you got to give up something that you really desire to keep, then it says this will engender enormous conflict. Enormous conflict. Few teachers of God, few teachers of love escape this distress entirely. There is, however, no point in sorting out the valuable from the valueless unless the next obvious step is taken. There's no point in sorting out the valuable from the valueless unless the next obvious step is taken. Therefore, the period of overlap is apt to be a period in which you, the teacher of God, the teacher of love, you feel called upon to sacrifice your own best interest in behalf of the truth. There's no such thing as giving up your own best interest in order to practice the truth. There's no such thing as giving up your own best interest. You're not going to lose the thing that's desirable to you. You're not going to lose what's truly important by accepting the truth and moving toward the truth. But there may be a period of overlap. That's a period in which you feel called upon to sacrifice your own best interest on behalf of truth. You haven't realized as yet how wholly impossible such a demand would be. You can learn that it's impossible to give up your own best interest on behalf of the truth And you can learn this only as you actually do give up the valueless. Through giving up what has no value. And what has no value is what keeps you in fear and conflict. That which keeps you in fear and conflict, that's what has no value. What keeps you in fear and conflict, that's what has no value. What keeps you in fear and conflict, that's what has no value. What keeps you in anger and depression, that's what has no value. So when you actually give up the thing that's valueless, you're going to learn that where you anticipated grief, you're going to find a happy lightheartedness instead. When you finally give it up, when you finally let go of that thing that's not valuable, when you finally let go of that thing that brings you no peace, you're going to find that you're going to feel a happy lightheartedness. Instead of feeling like there's a great burden, you're going to feel like you've been freed of a burden. And where you thought something was being asked of you, you're going to find that you are receiving a gift. You're going to think that something is asking something of you, but when you really give up the valueless, you're going to receive a gift. When you let go of the thing that's keeping you, or you're allowing to keep you in unhappiness, then you're going to discover that you're going to be given a gift. And what's the gift? The gift is going to be the peace and joy and love and light and fun that I always wanted, that I have been denying myself. So this is what you want to do. You want to go through a period of relinquishment. A period of relinquishment. You want to go through a period of relinquishment, and that means the ones that you have decided to let go of what's valueless, the ones you sorted out, he's saying the ones you sorted out, the ones you come to the conclusion, in terms of my goal, how is this helping me? And you really see that something isn't serving you, you must take the next obvious step, which would be letting it go. How many of you at that stage where you think you figured out what you need to let go of in your life, but you never do? Do you know why?
Yeah, why?
Do you know why?
Why?
I'm going to tell you in the next paragraph.
Okay.
Any questions about anything I've said so far? Any questions, any comments? Can I clarify? Can I, anything I can do to help right now? We're on page 10 in the teacher's manual. Everybody's perfectly clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lately I've been going through the exercise of just relinquishing everything. Walking away from everything. Kids, not walking away, but just turning it over, I should say better. Turn over air, food, water, everything. And so what doesn't serve you, then disappears. And then what does serve you bounces back so much stronger and clearer, and you have such a greater appreciation and value for it. So that's the exercise I've been going through lately, is just turning it all over.
Yeah, that's been my whole goal this year. Not my will but thine. Not my will but thine. See, I realized I didn't create myself. And I decided to resign as my own teacher, which I couldn't help but do if I looked honestly at the results of my own teaching. And it was the smartest move that I've ever made in my life. Because most of the things, I wouldn't say most of the things, everything that everyone in this room is wondering about right now, the answer to it is here right now. I mean, everything. Do you really think you're the only person that's ever thought what you're thinking, feeling what you're feeling? No. Do you really think you're the only one that's ever had these thoughts? And it could be possible that the situation has already been answered. But you're not availing yourself of the answer because you're trying to make it up as you go along. You're trying to figure it out on your own. It's like reinventing the wheel. Why are you doing that? There is an answer for depression. There is an answer for the perception of sickness. There are answers for how to have abundance. There are answers about how to have right relationship. There are answers in how to forgive yourself. There are answers in how to get in touch with your spiritual identity. There are answers in how to have all the joy you want. They're already here. One way that I discovered those for myself was through the Course in Miracles. Course in Miracles is one way. It's not the only way. Everybody's going to find and discover their own way. But don't you think for 1 second that what you're going through, there isn't a solution just because you're unwilling to invest the time it takes to get the answer and to apply. Just you know, you're innocent, but don't think just because you're not willing to do what it takes to have what you want, that it means that you can't have it. Just admit you're not willing to do what it takes. And what it takes is some investment of time and attention on the thing you say you really want, being willing to admit that you don't know, that you don't really know how to do it, you don't really know how to have it. Stop trying to make everybody fit into your script of what you think they should be and how they should act. We hear all this stuff all the time. But sometimes I would think, well, it's going to be different for me. I can put all these scripts on everybody, but somehow or another it's going to work because my script is for their own good as well as mine. And then people who want to be special with you and you want to be special with them, you have a tendency to promise to each other impossible things that neither one of you all are going to do in the long run. So you give them your power. They actually think they have power over you. And then they start treating you like they do. And you don't realize you told them they did. And then you get resentment when you no longer want to do what they say. But you told them it was okay to tell you what to do because of how much they meant to you and you meant to them. So they're just doing what you told them to do. But now they're doing it at a time you don't like it. And so when someone's trying to tell you what to do when you don't want to do what they tell you to do, then you're full of resentment. But when they're telling you what to do when you're saying, would you please lead me and give me some advice, then you're mad if they don't take an interest. You don't take as much interest in my life and what's going on as you used to. Because now the part of me that wants to be the follower has come up today because I'm confused. But later on this afternoon, I want to be the leader of me again, and you bet not tell me what to do. You trying to fix me. It's a wonder anybody with us anytime. We ought to call everybody we know and say, thank you for loving me at all. You talk to people about relationships, and almost everybody you talk to about relationships, they always talk about what they want the other person to do for them, how they want the other person to be, the qualities they want the other. They'll never say, I want to form a relationship so that I can just bring so much joy and happiness and support into somebody else's life and see if I can be a person that nurtures them and allows them to realize their own good. Now, you don't hear people say that. They go, I want somebody who got some money. I just stopped right there. Keep hands around here. And the person with the money is praying every morning, give me a person with no money, Lord. Send me someone who has no money. You know, stop asking for qualities in other people that you're not willing to cultivate in yourself.
Right.
Stop expecting someone else to fill in the empty holes that's in you.
Yep.
You're not a quilt.
Yeah.
Yes, Chris. You innocent. Ask one of y'all. Y'all juicy and yet you. Juicy and cute and innocent. All of y'all. All of y'all. I'm from the South. All of y'all.
All y'all.
See, in the South, we cut through the, you know, we cut right to the point. We don't go all of you. All y'all. All y'all. All y'all. We don't go all of you, all. All y'all. All y'all innocent.
How do you spell that?
All y'all. A-L-L-Y-A-L-L. All y'all. That was on my SAT, my Southern that I got in college. Yes, brother.
You know, like this morning and just hearing you talk and everything, I got a revelation, and like, I'm gonna be honest, part of me doesn't want to accept it because a part of me can't believe that I would be like that. But you know, I'm being honest here. But like, you know, because I'm always worried about my actions and doing wrong. But you know what? I found out that, you know, my actions and doing wrong, I have a vested interest in guilt.
Yes.
And shame.
Well, right. So, yeah. You have a vested interest in guilt and shame. Go ahead.
I have a vested interest in all of that.
Me too.
And a part of me wants to be free.
Me
but
too.
the other part of me is like, no, man, this is who you are.
That's right.
This is who you are.
That's right.
And you can't face it because if you face it, it's going to kill you.
That's right. Kill you dead.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So what you do is you acknowledge that you have all those feelings and then you go ahead and do the right thing. See, it's not about denying what you think of as negative thoughts. It's just about not using those negative, I call them so-called negative thoughts because that's still a perception. but it's about not, I can have the thought of murdering you and admit that I have a murderous thought, but if I'm a conscious being, I won't let that murderous thought direct my action. I won't pretend I don't have it. I just won't let it tell me what to do and do it. So most people think it's all about getting rid of thoughts. It's really about accepting all of your thoughts and then choosing the thoughts that serve you to guide you. But it's not about denying that you have jealousy or anger or insecurity or fear, because when you deny, whatever you deny runs you, and whatever you deny shows up in your physical reality to reveal to you that you're in denial about it. So by you being willing to say that there was a part of you that feels these things, then you actually decrease the possibility of things in your world having to show you that you have all of those doubts and fears, because you were willing to admit it's there. But then but what did you do? You admitted you had the doubts and the fears, but you still came to the class anyway. You still put yourself in the presence of other people who want to grow anyway. So what directed you was your goal of peace. You may have felt guilt, but you're sitting in the presence of a guy that's telling you that, yeah, you can make errors are for correction, but what you are is innocent. You were not born as a sinful, guilty person. That was what you learned you were after you were born. As soon as you got here, everybody described to you what the world is. From the time we land, people are giving us endless descriptions of everything, are they not? Right? And then when you get to the point that you can describe yourself the way you've been taught to describe yourself, then you become a member of society, because now you can come to all the erroneous conclusions on your own without any help. So now you are officially an adult. An adult is someone who now tells himself the crazy stuff without any help from anybody. And not only that, they add to it. Now you're an adult. My mind is closed. I think I know everything. I'm totally autonomous. I bought into the system that I was taught. It seems to be true because my reality reflects my beliefs. My reality reflects my beliefs. My reality reflects my beliefs. And so now it looks like what I was taught is true, but I don't realize that I'm just seeing what I believe, not what's necessarily the truth. So your perception will always validate your beliefs. Your perceptions will always validate your beliefs. Yeah. So if you say all men are no good, then you're going to perceive no good men, and you will feel like you're right. I'm black, so therefore I can never be a president. If I believe that, then I would perceive that. I say this to you again. Your perception is validating your beliefs. Everything you're physically experiencing is coming from your perceptions and your beliefs. As long as you keep the belief, you're going to keep the experience of it. And your outer will always seem to validate what you believe, even if it's not true. I am not enough. I cannot be accepted for who I am. I will invariably be attracted to relationships with people who don't accept me and try to change me. I don't accept me. Why should they? So therefore, I'll attract someone who's always telling me I need to be different for them to love me. I need to be different for them to appreciate me. I need to be different for them to stay with me, because I think I need to be different to stay with me. These changes are always helpful. 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 Changes are 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 helpful. Now take a breath and breathe. You are juicy and cute. You should be happy and light-hearted. Don't you know that that is why angels fly? Because they take themselves so lightly. You got to take yourself You see, God is in the funk. Don't ever forget that God is in the funk. If you want to, I'm trying to funk you.
Okay then.
Have you ever been funked?
Yeah.
You have. Have you been funked good? That's the goal. Anything that moves you away from that is value. Don't forget that.
I remember
You remember that? The people who have the hardest time letting their lives transformed into joy are serious truth students. The more serious you are and the less light you are, and the less you're able to play and laugh, the longer the change takes.
Exactly.
You know, and we grew up in a society that usually associated with spirituality with something less than joy. And some of us probably grew up, but probably some of us are recovering Baptists, some of us are recovering Catholics, some of us are recovering Methodists. And when I say recovering, is that what you maybe learned through your religious upbringing was basically a lot of fear and limitation and restriction, and you probably were rebellious and probably didn't want to buy into a lot of this stuff. And usually I find that people who are attracted to my class and who come in it for entertainment are people who didn't buy and it didn't feel right what they were being taught and what they were being told. And it just didn't ring true in their soul. And they want another way of looking at it. But I would invite you not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't throw God out. Don't throw the Creator out because you learned a fearful, untrue perception. So now you just threw out the whole concept of having something greater than you that could love you and help you. Because that happens a lot with new thought, so-called new thought, new age, personal growth people. They usually throw out the concept of a higher power and just make it more about them doing it on their own, but with more information, and call that spiritual evolvement. It's not. You're going more unconscious. Because now you learn a lot of stuff, a whole lot of stuff you're reading, and a whole lot of stuff you're studying. And if you don't practice it, it becomes a tremendous burden. It's just something else you're not doing that you know you ought to be doing, and your mind beats the hell out of you up, beats you up about it because you're not living up to your idealized self. So stop pouring information into yourself just for you to figure out how to do it alone again. Because what you're doing is, without knowing it, you're creating an external situation that's going to show up in your life to produce an inner shift, where you start to reach out to something greater than your own ego. So voluntarily say, I desire union, I desire connection, I desire to receive, I desire to have any blocks removed. Would you mind closing the door so that, if you don't mind, so that all that noise back there won't come through? You open to the easy way, right?
Right.
You don't mind having it easier, right?
No.
Okay, this is easier. This is easier. It's a whole lot easier. Okay, so just like what Chris got through saying, make it okay to have all your feelings, and then you won't spend all day trying to get rid of your feelings, which takes up a lot of time. You could be at the movie. There's some good movies out right now. So when you really give up something that's not serving you, then you feel lighthearted and you receive a gift, which is peace. So you find a gift bestowed on you. And then the last one I'm going to cover today is now comes a period of settling down. Okay, so the first stage is a period of undoing. The second stage is a period of sorting out. The third stage is a period of letting it go to once you've sorted out. So what is the next stage? It's a period of settling down. And he said, now what is that? He says, this you're going to come into a quiet time in which you rest a while in reasonable peace. Like once you get rid of the thing that's bugging you, that's not helping you, that's not serving you, you're actually going to rest. And you're going to rest in reasonable peace. He says, now what are you going to do? He says, well, what you're going to do next is you're going to consolidate your learning. So what does it mean to consolidate my learning? It simply means you see the transfer value of everything you've learned. In other words, when you consolidate your learning, you are seeing where you can apply it in every situation. That's consolidate. In other words, if I give her all the meaning that she has for me, that's a universal truth, right? Then if I've consolidated my learning, I'll say I give her all the meaning that she has for me, and I give him all the. In other words, I'm going to apply that to every single thing. So a consolidated learning is a learning you're using all the time, everywhere. Also, it says, then when you realize the value of what you learn, he says, then the potential is literally staggering. If it's my beliefs that's creating my reality and attracting the things that happen to me, my God, look at the possibilities of the things that I could experience that would be fantastic. You mean I could just change my consciousness, change my perception, change what I believe, and watch my whole reality change? The potential of that is staggering. You mean if I'm in a job that I hate, I could change my mind and be in a job that I love? You mean if I'm in a relationship that is not satisfactory, I could change my thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs, and then I could watch that change? The potential of that is staggering.
Yeah.
Staggering.
Staggering. Staggering. Staggering.
Staggering.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
I want to stagger.
You want to stagger?
I do.
To stagger? To stagger or not to stagger? That is the question.
Stagger with me, baby.
That's right. Yeah, I'm staggering with you. I'll stagger with you. I'll be glad. That's what I want to do. I want to join with some people that really want to move toward love. And really want to change their minds and want to know their innocence and want to know connection. You doggone right I'll join with you. You know, those who see a payoff and staying miserable, they're not going to listen to nothing I'm saying. They're not going to do nothing I'm saying. That would be contrary to their goal, which is to be miserable. So they get rid of me because I'd be the one that's valueless in terms of their goal of staying in their pattern.
Yeah.
Why do you think people come to classes and things that make a change and never come back? It's contrary to their goal of staying in the misery they're in. So they let that go. And I'm not saying you're not sincere unless you come to my class. What I'm saying is that when you move away from the thing that'll bring you what you want, obviously it's not what you want and you want the opposite. Because there's no excuse anymore. There's no excuse anymore. We don't have any excuses anymore. You could go to your computer and get all the knowledge that's recorded practically on earth from all time. But I'm so special, my problem isn't in there. That's how special I am. You know, even when the creator get around to my problem, oh my God, it's Earl. Let him go straight to voicemail. Because his problem is even beyond the powers of God. I'm so special.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody can love me. I just can't have a relationship. I've been trying to have out of 5 billion or so people. Nobody could be with you. Or could it be out of 5 billion people, you don't want to be with you. And you don't want to be with them.
Yeah.
Let's tell the truth about it. You don't want to be with you, and so nobody else wants to be with you either. That's why they don't want to be with you. They're waiting for you to love you so that they can enjoy you, because if they don't enjoy you, if they with you and you hate you and you miserable, why they want to join with you?
Yeah.
I know you got HBO, but
On the flat screen.
and a flat screen, but still. Would y'all acknowledge yourself for hearing this much? Just give it up. Give it up. I'm going to give you the last thought on the way out. First and foremost, everything that I teach is for me.
Yes.
I'm the one who needs this more than anyone, or as much as anyone in here. It's me. That's why I teach, because I need to learn this. Not that I've mastered it, but I want to. So I'm moving toward it by doing it. You see what I'm saying? So we're all the same. All right, cool. So we're going to do the love offering. Thank you for sharing with me. I do this stuff. That's the only thing I do. That's what I...
Well, then, that'll be the next one.
Did anybody hear anything that they want to remember that sounded pretty cool to them that they'd like to keep in mind? Don't hurt my feelings. Somebody said something.
That if I acknowledge that I have these feelings, you know, it takes away their power.
Yeah.
Right. If you get away from that old perception that most people have, that being positive only and not being honest about your feelings is spiritual progress, then you can move faster. It's about being authentic. It's about being honest with yourself. It's not about pretending you don't feel what you feel. So this is what you do. He says, now this is your whole way out. This is your whole way out. This is your whole way out. So you won't have conflict. Remember this. Give up what you do not want and keep what you do. I'll say it again. Give up what you do not want and keep what you do want. So if you're struggling because it's something you think you have to give up that you don't want to give up, what was the instruction? Keep what you do want. So if you're struggling to let it go, it means you don't want to let it go. So don't focus on that. Don't focus on that. Focus on what you already know that you want to give up and you don't feel like it's a sacrifice to do it. I say give up what you do not want and keep what you do. It says, how simple is the obvious? How simple is the obvious? And how easy to do? How easy to do the obvious? It says you need this period of respite. Don't you need some rest? You need this period of respite. But you know what? You have not yet come as far as you think. You haven't yet come as far as you think, but when you are ready to go on, you go with mighty companions beside you. Look around here. I say, when you're ready to go on, you go on with mighty companions beside you. Now, kind of look at people around you and pretend you can smile. Let's pretend. Yeah, you got your mighty companions beside you. Yeah, you got your mighty companions beside you. And then the chorus says, now you're going to rest a while. Now you're going to rest a while. Now you're going to rest a while and gather your mighty companions, gather your mighty companions, gather your mighty companions before going on. It's time to gather your mighty companions before going on. You know, you will not go on from here alone. You will not go from here alone. What we say? I will not go from here alone. Say what? I will not go from here alone. Breathe. I will not go from here alone. Say, I will not go from here alone. And you do what? Give up what you do not want and keep what you do. What? Give up what you do not want and keep what you do. Yes. Give up what you do not want and keep what you do. Say what? Give up what you do not want and keep what you do. Give up what you do not want and keep what you do. Give it up, Holy Spirit. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me remember. Thank you for helping me remember. Thank you for helping me remember. Yes. 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 And may the course be with you.